Hello, I'm the FanFic Critic. I read, you listen.
What the hell? Susan, is this your idea of a sick joke? This is not funny. Untie me this instant.
Okay, Susan, this is not funny. Get me
Well,
out
it's
of
quite
this
clear that
fucking
I'm not
chair
actually
this
the FanFic
instant.
Critic. I'm
Oh,
Susan,
gee, I
and
think
the
they kind
FanFic
of
Critic,
figured
as
that
you can hear, is
brainiac,
tied up
saying
to
you
that
look
chair.
nothing like me. Okay, you
You're
kinda
probably
look like
wondering
me.
why that's the case.
Just get me
Well,
out of
the
here.
FanFic Critic
This is not
decided I'm going
funny.
to read a really bad fanfic to start
Because it's my job to review
season with.
fanfics, you idiot.
I didn't
That's
like
why they
that,
call
so
me
I
a
tied her
fanfic
up to
critic.
a
Now get me
chair,
out of this frickin' chair.
And I'm going to take over the review pretty much.
I think they kind of
Will you
figured
keep it
that.
down? I'm trying to record an episode. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that you were trying to record something. That something being my show! As you can see, she's not very happy. Well, she doesn't get that I'm doing this for her own good. She wants to read this really bad fanfic. And this fanfic is by an author that she's had a past encounter with. And the fanfic itself is awful, so I'm not going to have her suffer by reading this. So I'm going to read it instead in her place. Okay, your logic makes absolutely no sense. You don't want me to read this fanfic, so your solution is to tie me up to a chair and have me sit here and watch you read it. Doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose if you're afraid I'm going to quote-unquote lose my mind and go insane and possibly try to kill myself? I think it does, so your logic is completely and utterly flawed. Well, you do prove a very valid point. We can't have you hearing this story now, can we? No, so I think it's time for you to take a nap. Now that that's settled, let's take a look at today's fanfic. The fanfic is called Arthur's Sucky Day by the 6-Foot Dick. She read a fanfic of his back in her first season, and ironically she pronounced his name wrong. She called him the 6-Ift Dick. I don't know why she didn't think it was 6 foot. Maybe because there's a lack of space, but I don't know. It was her first season, and her first season did suck. So, the story is rated M. It's in English. It's humor parody. It has 22 reviews. It was published May 31st, 2009. It's complete, and its ID number is 5102865. And the genre it's in is Arthur the Aardvark. Let's get started. Oh my word. Big blobs of text as our paragraphs. Well, we know that this is going to be, good. Arthur's Sucky Day by the 6-Foot Dick. It was Friday afternoon in Elwood City, and Mr. Ratburn was teaching the class on how to give your partner perfect oral sex. Okay. To help him, he had Binky Barnes lying on his desk with his pants off. Mr. Ratburn's head bobbed up and down as Binky squealed loudly. He squealed so loudly the window shattered. Mr. Ratburn got a napkin and wiped Binky's baby batter off his face. Just as he was about to give the next lesson on massaging the balls with your tongue, Mr. Haney burst into the room. He said, "Mrs. Reed and Buster Baxter fucking each other in the front of the school. Everybody come and watch." Everybody ran out to the front of the school and saw Buster ride Arthur's mum cowgirl style, and he twisted her nipples so hard she howled like a wolf. She howled so loudly, Mr. Haynes shit his pants. Talk about a weak bladder. Thus began Arthur's worst day. I noticed the connection with Doug's worst day and Arthur's worst day. Now let's move on to paragraph number 2, which is a whopping this thick on the screen. After school ended, Arthur, Buster, George, and the Brain went to the sugar bowl. They were sitting in a booth with Arthur and George on one side and Buster and Brain on the other. All of them had finished 13 ice cream sundaes apiece. Talk about major brain freeze. Arthur finished his sundae and glared at Buster. Buster, I can't believe you'd go and fuck my mother like that, he said. Arthur, your mom asked me to fuck her, said Buster. What are you talking about? Arthur asked in an annoyed tone. Okay, he did not ask because there's no question mark in there. If you want to ask a question, use the question mark. Not rocket science. Remember when I was at your house last week and you were taking that enormous dump? Yeah, said Arthur. What does that have to do with anything? Well, while you were nuking Toiletopolis, I went into the kitchen to get a snack. I saw your mom doing boring grown-up shit at the table and she told me she wasn't getting any from your dad. I think she said your dad had the same size wiener as you. Arthur turned bright red and pained himself a little. What's with the ongoing theme of people having weak stomachs in this, or weak bladders more appropriately? Buster continued. Anyway, she was really horny and made me take off her clothes without using my hands. So what did she use, her toes or her teeth? I'm going to assume your teeth, but still, that'd be really hard. Especially with the bra. What would you have to do? Like chomp it off? Like that? I'd imagine that you would probably lose a tooth if you tried to do that. She then let me touch her massive chesticles. Chesticles? Is that what they're calling breasts now? Chesticles? And what are they going to call testicles down there? Man boobies? Oh wait, some men already do have boobies. Or man breasts? Or... forget I said anything. And after that, we fucked for a good 20 minutes. So those noises weren't the scrambled porn we were watching. Nope, it was me and your mum. Then she met me at school today and told me she wanted me. So we went to the front of the school and the rest is history. Why would you want to fuck why would you want to fuck in front of an entire school body? You would think you'd get arrested for doing that. But then again, this fanfic seems to be in a universe where sex is not a big deal and everyone fucks each other just for shits and giggles. But in reality, if Mrs. Reed was caught fucking Buster, she would be arrested for, I don't know, being a pedophile and for rape of a minor. Even if he wanted to do it, it would still be considered rape because he's a minor. Why am I putting logic into this? Does she ever put logic into it? Oh, look at that. She's starting to wake up. Oh, hello. Nighty-night. Oh. Don't want her waking up in the middle of this now, do we? Arthur gave Buster the finger. I don't know, Arthur. It was kind of hot if you ask me, said George. Shut up, Tardo. No one was asking you. Brain snapped. What's it to you? Asked George. I'm with Arthur on that one, said Brain. Thank you, said Arthur. Anyway, said George. What are everyone's plans for this weekend? Arthur said, I'll probably watch Barney and massage my nipples. Buster said, I'm going to try on my mom's clothes while she's out squandering my dad's alimony and child support payments on booze and jewelry. Brain said, I'm going to masturbate for 3 hours straight, then put it under a microscope and see how potent it is. Brain, that's stupid, Buster said. Even if your sperm was potent, no chick would ever want to fuck you. What is this guy? The next Christian Weston Chandler? Oh wait, he would be the next Christian Weston Chandler if he actually ate his sperm. Ew. Brain bitch slapped Buster in the face so hard he made him cross-eyed. What about you, George? Arthur asked. Again, he did not ask because there's no question mark. Honestly, if you're going to have someone ask a question, you need to use the question mark. Common sense. I'm going to your house and fucking your whore of a mother, George said while laughing. Wouldn't it have been more appropriate if he had an exclamation point at the end of that? This person seems very comma happy. Arthur was so mad he grabbed a fork and stabbed George in the eye. And yet they don't bother to use commas where they're actually needed. Okay, we're done with that blob of text. Let's move on to the smaller blob of text. George was screaming and crying while blood seeped out of his eye. "Oh God, I'm so sorry," Arthur said. He then picked up a steak knife and stabbed George 7 times in the butthole. Wouldn't want to get spanked by him anytime soon using a knife on you. I think I'd go with the paddle or the cane, thank you very much. With every stab, George moaned. Did I read that correctly? With every stab, George moaned. Arthur looked to see if George was still alive. Well, of course he's still alive if he's moaning. He was, and he had a huge boner thanks to Arthur's foreplay with the knife. I am sorry, but I highly doubt one would be turned on by the fact that they're getting stabbed in the buttocks with a knife. They would not be moaning in pleasure. They would be screaming in pain because that would bloody hurt. That would be like if I took this razor and shoved it up my crotch over and over and over again. It would not feel good. It would hurt. I am very sorry for giving you that visual, and I just gave myself that visual, and now I have to try to find a way to erase it from my mind. Yeah, think happy thoughts, happy thoughts. Let's just continue to read the fanfic. Yes. Arthur couldn't stand seeing George so happy, so he took the knife and slit his throat. George died in agony. Then a bunch of blood seeped onto the floor as a waitress carrying a huge stack of dirty dishes walked by. Oh, I wonder what's going to happen next. She didn't see the bloody mess, so she slipped on it, fell over and cracked open his skull. Wow, how predictable. Arthur, after seeing this whole decade, decided to leave. Guys, I just remembered DW and I were going to play gynecologist. See you on Monday. He slid out of the booth and headed towards the entrance. Wait, Arthur, said Buster. You said you were going to help pay with the bill. Oh, well, I lied. You guys will have to take care of it, said Arthur. He left the sugar bowl and headed home. Let's read the next blob of text. Arthur screeched to a halt in front of the strip club his dad worked at part-time as a dancer. Oh wait, I am sorry, I just completely skipped over that entire paragraph. Let's do that again. You see, it's really hard to keep your place because if it's a huge blob of text... Okay, so let's read the right paragraph, I apologize. As Arthur arrived home, the windows were open and he heard what sounded like his mom singing Crazy Bus. Arthur walked upstairs and opened up his mom's bedroom door. As Arthur looked into the room, he saw his mom naked on her bed singing Crazy Bus into a dildo. Arthur yelled, "Mom, what are you doing?" She said, "I'm just doing some karaoke for DW and Kate." DW and Kate were in a crib in the corner making out. Suddenly there was a vibrating sound and the mom pulled her cell phone out of her vagina. She answered it and it was Mr. Reed. The mom went back and forth with the dad and she hung up the phone and put it back into the bat cave. The phone would not work after being put in a place that is, forgive the visuals, but moist and wet. It would not work. That would be like putting a cell phone inside of a swimming pool and then picking it up and trying to use it after it was underwater. It would not work. It would not work. It would not work. It just would not work. Arthur's mom said, "Your father needs you to pick him up because his car's run out of gas. He's stuck downtown a few blocks from his office and needs you to give him a ride." "Why can't you get him?" Arthur asked. Again, he did not ask because you do not have a bloody question mark. Question mark. Not that hard to make. In fact, to make it, you click on the shift key and then you click on the question mark key. And there you have it. You have yourselves a bloody question mark. So why don't you use the bloody question mark when you use the word asked? Because if you're not going to use the question mark, then do not have the word trapped in there. Bloody idiot. Because dumb shit, I'm busy. Now go get him. I think the word dumb shit perfectly describes this author. Then the mom went back to singing. Arthur sighed and left the room. Arthur walked to the garage and remembered that his bike had been stolen the night before by the Tibble twins so they could sell it and buy crack for their grandma. His only choices were DW's tricycle or his mom's new car, a 2006 Pontiac GTO. Arthur went into the kitchen and got his mom's car keys. After opening the garage door, he started the car, put it in reverse, and stomped on the gas. The car rocketed out of the garage, across the street, and ran over Prunella. Arthur then sped off downtown. Prunella was so mad that she tried casting a witch spell on Arthur to make his penis shrivel, but she accidentally cast it on her own penis and she died.
If she has a penis, then she's not a woman, she's a man.
That'd be like saying that dude over there has a vagina. Well, clearly the FanFic Critic is not a dude because she has boobs and a vagina. She's a woman, not a man. Unless it's supposed to be a deal that Prunella here is supposed to be like a transsexual person or something like that. I'm not even sure if I'm using the right terminology, but whatever. Let's move on to the next blob of text. And there's only 2 more left, thankfully. Arthur screeched to a halt in front of the strip club his dad worked at part-time as a dancer. He noticed his dad's car was in the parking lot, so he drove over and got out of the car. When he looked inside, he almost puked. Mr. Reed was giving Binky Barnes a blowjob while Mr. Ratburn was filming in the front seat. Arthur knocked on the window. Mr. Ratburn rolled it down, and Arthur said, "What the fuck are you guys doing?" Now, notice how it says Arthur said. It should have said Arthur asked, because at the end of that sentence, the person actually used a question mark. So when you finally do use a question mark, you use the wrong word. Up yours. Mr. Ratburn said, "It's for your dad's newest porno. Mr. Reed spreads his seed. Catchy title. I think I would buy it," said Arthur. Then he remembered why he was there. "Dad, we have to get gas for your car." Mr. Reed asked Mr. Ratburn to watch Binky for him. They left the car and Binky squealed so loudly that the window shattered. They went over to the Pontiac and got inside. Mr. Reed started the car and they did a burnout out of the parking lot and drove to the gas station. After they filled up a container with gas, Mr. Reed said, "Arthur, I gotta take a piss. I'll be right back." He was gone for 3 hours. Man, he really must have had to go. Arthur finally got tired of waiting and went into the bathroom. What he saw shocked him. Mr. Reed was being brutally raped by Mr. Crosswire. Why? Mr. Crosswire was crying and had mascara running down his cheeks and was repeatedly saying, "Muffy, you whore, if I can't have you, no one will." And why is he saying this? Is Mr. Reed having an affair with Muffy? Isn't Muffy his daughter? Oh, let's continue. He then shanked Mr. Reed to death. Arthur went over, grabbed the knife, and stabbed Mr. Crosswire to death. As Arthur turned around, he noticed Muffy at the door. Muffy saw her father's corpse on top of Mr. Reed's corpse and Arthur holding a bloody knife. Okay, so Mr. Crosswire is supposed to be Muffy's dad. So what is he doing? Fucking his daughter? She then said, "Ooh, Arthur, I'm telling." Well, she took that rather well, seeing that her father was murdered in front of her eyes. "Oh, I'm going to tell on you." Muffy then ran off to tell on Arthur with her big whorish mouth. Arthur couldn't let this happen, so he ran after that bitch. Arthur jumped and drop-kicked Muffy so hard that she smacked her head against a fire hydrant and split her skull open. Arthur was pleased with the situation and wanted to tell people about it. "Okay, Arthur, go right ahead and tell people about it. You want to know what happened? It would land you in bloody jail!" So he got into the Pontiac and sped off to Buster's house. Okay, we're on the final blob of text. Arthur stopped in front of Buster's house and rang the doorbell. Mrs. Baxter answered the door. "Well, hello, Arthur," she said. "Is there anything I can do for you?" "To you?" "No, ma'am, you gross me out," Arthur said. "I just want to talk to Buster." "Buster?" "As in Buster Cherry. as in what I want you to do to me. Arthur then said, I'm not getting into this house if I don't screw you, right? Exactly, she said. Mrs. Baxter then ripped her clothes off. She then said, Honey, are you an ant-eater-outer? Excuse me, asked Arthur.
He did not ask because you do not have a bloody question mark. If you want him to ask a question, use the bloody question mark. Is it really that bloody hard to type a question mark?
Sorry, that ran my best. Let's continue. Let's say that correctly. Excuse me? Arthur asked. You eat bugs, right? Yeah. Well, I've got some bugs in my cooch. I hope you like lice. Fried lice. Perhaps you should have that taken a look at if you have lice down there. Especially if they're fried. That's even worse. Arthur was getting pissed off, so he said, I don't have time for this shit. He pulled out brass knuckles and punched Mrs. Baxter in her vagina. Mrs. Baxter literally exploded from the biggest orgasm in her life. Arthur picked up her bloody chunks and started cooking them for Buster. When dinner was ready, Arthur knocked on Buster's bedroom door. Not getting a response, Arthur thought Buster was masturbating and burst through the door. Arthur's phone suddenly rang. He answered it and it was his mum. Buster's waiting for you at our house. Why? Asked Arthur. No. Question mark. There are no questions. That's not a question mark there. That's a comma. I don't know how many times I have to say this, but if you're going to have the person ask a question, use
a question mark!
Why? Arthur asked. We are having a sleepover, just get back over here. She then hung up. Arthur drove back to his house, walked through the front door, and went up to his room when he saw shocked him. He saw Brain holding Buster's severed head and had a crazy look in his eyes. He then ripped his shirt open and took some of Buster's blood and smeared it on his chest. Arthur screamed, What the fuck is wrong with you, Brain? Okay, if he's supposed to be screaming, maybe you should have all those words capitalized and you should have an exclamation mark in there along with the question mark. What the fuck is wrong with me, you ask? Well, let's see here. Why you left to go fuck your mother? It was just me and Buster to pick up the tab. Buster then tricked me by leaving me to pick up the bill, which turned out to be $530 due to our meal. Okay, I know that they had 13 ice cream sundaes each, but I highly doubt it would be that expensive. In fact, let's do the math. Does she have a calculator? Oh, no. I guess this little notepad would do. So, let's say, 530, let's divide that by 13. So, yes, 13 goes into 53, hold on, well, let's say times, it goes into it 4 times, so that would be 52, 10, yeah, so that does not go into that at all, so yeah, I'll do a thing, so drop another 0, oh wait, you know what, the logic of, it goes into 40, I would say, like 3 times, oh wait, what am I doing? I'm getting myself confused. No, it goes into 10, it doesn't go into 10 at all, drop a 0, it goes into 100, I would say it goes into 100, well, let's not bother with that because so far, it has it so that the ice cream sundaes, each of them would have to be about $40. No one in their right mind would pay $40 for one ice cream sundae. So that logic makes no sense. The 6-foot dick, you suck at math. To get the money, I had to suck off 12 truckers and sell off my mother's prize dildo. I had to get revenge, and there's no better way to do it than kill your butt-to-buddy boyfriend. You're fucking nuts, Brain. Would somebody be nuts if they chopped off their penis and surgically attached a machine gun instead? Yes, very fucking nuts. Let me guess. He cut off his penis and attached a machine gun instead. Replied Arthur. Brain unzipped his pants and fired his machine gun, killing Arthur. Brain laughed maniacally and jumped out of his window to get to eat Buster's head and kill more people. Hearing the noise, DW walked into should be one word, not two, into the room to see what was going on. Arthur keep down all the noise. I'm trying to get sex money from the Tibble twins. There was no response. Arthur, you bitch, get up, she squealed. Arthur's mom came up to see what was going on. Arthur won't wake up, Mommy, said DW. Oh, said her mother, that's because he's dead. They both laughed and didn't care. The end.
Susan!
Good night.
Susan! Don't! Susan! Got 1 foot free. Come on. Damn it.
She had me tied up with elastics and whatever. Oh, thank God she had it undone. All right, let's get you out of here. Word of advice, if you're going to try to tie someone up, do not use hair ties. Of course, for her sake, it was probably good that she did. Oh. Well, I'm the fanfic critic. I read it. You listen. Yeah. How are you feeling? I feel like shit, to be perfectly honest with you. Well, I should say it kind of serves you right for being a freaking dumbass, but I've done the same thing myself, so I guess I can't talk. Are you mad at me? Oh, you bet I'm mad. I'm furious. And no, it's not because of you tying me up and shooting me twice with a phase pistol. No, I'm mad because of how you handled the fanfic in question. Yeah, I rewatched the footage, Susan, and you want to know the scary thing? You were acting a lot like me. Insane. Well, to be honest with you, dearie, you kind of do act insane in your show, so we can just assume that I was trying to act like you, that's all. Insane. I don't act insane, Susan. I am insane. I am insane. You know that. I know that. You're not insane. Or at least you didn't used to be insane. Are you trying to say that I'm insane now? I'm beginning to think you are, a little bit. You've been acting differently lately. You've been more short-tempered. You have your moments where you act like your good old self, but then you have moments like today. I casually mentioned the fanfic I'm going to be reviewing to you, and the next thing I know, I'm tied up to a chair, and you're wearing my outfit, and then you shoot me with the phase pistol twice. Which, thinking about is kind of pointless because you had me tied up anyway. And then, I come out of unconsciousness a second time to see you holding that gun to your head. I can't do anything about it because I'm tied to a fucking chair. So, I have to struggle to break free, and thankfully you were stupid enough to use elastics to tie me up, but I still had trouble getting the hand restraints off because I was so weak from being shot with the phase pistol. My God, Susan, what if you had actually killed yourself? Or injured yourself and you were bleeding to death? I wouldn't have been able to get free in time to save you. Well, you could always just bring me back with the Dragon Balls like I do with you all the time, dearie. Oh yes, I could bring you back with the Dragon Balls and stuff, but I don't want you to make a habit of dying like I've made myself a habit of dying. What's the big deal? You constantly die all the time, and I always have to bring you back. It's practically the same thing. It's not the same. You want to know why? Because death to me is different than it is for you. The thing is, death doesn't bother me. And to be honest with you, when I killed you that first time, it didn't really upset me because I knew that I could bring you back. The only reason why your death upset me was because of the effect it had on you. I don't see death the same way that other people see it. And I hated seeing you suffer because of something that I had caused you. Me killing you had caused you pain. That's why I regretted it. That's why it bothered me so much. Not the initial act itself. Because I know I can easily bring you back. I know that I can bring you back easily with the Dragon Balls. So it doesn't really bother me that much. But still, I don't want to see you dead because the last time that you died, you ended up going nuts because of it, because it traumatized you so much. Well, now you know how I feel. Yes, I know I can bring you back with the Dragon Balls when you die, but I don't like seeing you dead, especially when it's by my own hand. That's why me killing you has had a not so good effect on me. I don't like seeing you dead either. I understand that. That's why I've been making an effort to not let the fanfics affect me like they used to. Once in a blue moon I might be tempted to. But for your sake, I try not to. But the point is, Susan, seeing you today scared me because you reminded me of myself. And that is not good. It's because of me killing you. That's probably why I'm acting differently. Alright? That's probably the reason for it. I think it's more than that. I think the memories are affecting you too. Oh, come on. I'm not traumatized by you killing me anymore. I can assure you of that. It's not the memories. Maybe not necessarily the memories, but the thing is, Susan, when you remembered You were insane. And I think because of you deciding to, oh, I'm going to get my memories back to try to prove a point to the FanFic Critic, I think that ended up returning your insanity as well. It might be a mixture of things. It might be a mixture of the guilt that you feel for killing me, but either way, you're not the same. That's one of the reasons why I was so furious when I found out that you got your memories back. Because you pretty much sacrificed your sanity to try to get me to forgive myself in vain. It was all for nothing. And now you're nuts. I'm not nuts. Maybe it's just a deal that I'm still trying to cope with everything that's going on. Maybe that's the reason. I'll get over this, okay? I'll get past this. I mean, maybe it's just all too much right now because of the guilt I'm feeling about killing you and then getting the memories back on top of it, but I think that if you hadn't taken away the memories then, I probably would have gotten over it. I probably would have recovered. And maybe that will happen now if you just give it a chance. I mean, I'll work this out. Okay, I'll work this out. I hope you're right. I hope it's just you trying to cope with what you did. I really hope that you're right. If not, I mean, I suppose I could do something about it. Don't even think about trying to erase my memories again. Because, you know, it's not going to do any good. All you're doing is just covering up what happened. I mean, I appreciate the gesture. I appreciated that you did it back then to try to help me, but it's not going to do any good. You can't protect me forever, okay? I have to get through this, and if I do end up being insane, then so be it. At least you won't be alone anymore. Alright? It's not the end of the world even if I am insane, but I don't think I am. And I think I can pull through this. You just gotta trust me, alright? Okay then. How's your head feel? I feel a little better, still a bit sore. I just feel like shit. So. Let me get this nice and cold for you, okay? I'll help you feel better. Alright, thank you. I mean it, you know. Thanks.